Australia's maritime environment is changing faster than at any point since the end of the Cold War. Sea lines of communication are increasingly placed under threat, malicious actors are getting more sophisticated, and competition now plays out persistently in the grey zone between peace and open conflict. Against that backdrop, Australia's decision to select the upgraded Mogami-class as the Royal Australian Navy's future general-purpose frigate is not simply a procurement choice. It is a direct response to the collapse of strategic warning time identified in the 2023 Defence Strategic Review, and to the need for a surface combatant fleet that is more lethal, more sustainable, and able to contribute meaningfully to deterrence through denial. In this video, we will examine how the Mogami stacks up as a 21st century surface combatant and where it fits within the Australian order of battle. We will discuss how the original Japanese design has been adapted to Australian requirements, and why this program matters not only for naval capability, but for Australia's industrial and strategic future at sea. To understand why Mogami was selected, it is worth returning directly to the independent analysis that initiated the C3000 program. The 2024 independent review, titled Enhanced Lethality Surface Combatant Fleet, concluded that Australia's naval forces must now contribute directly to shaping the strategic environment, deterring potential adversaries, and denying their ability to achieve objectives contrary to Australia's national interests. It further assessed that the existing fleet was not fit for purpose, and that an enhanced lethality surface combatant force was essential. That conclusion drove a fundamental shift in naval thinking. The answer was not simply a better replacement for the Anzac class, but a new category of ship, a general purpose frigate that could be acquired rapidly, operated sustainably, and fielded in sufficient numbers to matter. The upgraded Mogami was selected because it best married accelerated acquisition with credible, multi-domain capability consistent with the review's emphasis on minimum viable capability delivered at speed. The original Mogami-class frigate was developed for the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force as an affordable, highly automated and stealthy multi-mission combatant. Its defining characteristics included extensive automation enabling a core crew of approximately 90, a strong focus on anti-submarine warfare, mine warfare and patrol tasks, indigenous Japanese combat systems and sensors, and a hull and superstructure designed to reduce signatures across radar, infrared and acoustic domains. This design philosophy prioritized efficiency, sustainability and survivability over sheer size or maximal armament, reflecting Japan's own demographic constraints and operational requirements. Of course, Australia has not selected the baseline Mogami design, instead it has opted for an upgraded variant, often referred to as Japan's new FFM, adapted to Australian operational needs. So far, this Australianisation appears deliberately limited, in line with Defence's desire to minimise design risks and accelerate delivery. Key changes include integration of Kongsberg's naval strike missile in place of Japan's domestic Type 17 anti-ship cruise missile, the use of ESSM Block 2 rather than Japan's indigenous ASAM, and adoption of the Mark 54 lightweight torpedo instead of Japan's Type 97. Notably, as an exception to the first two changes, which bring the Mogami in line with other RAN surface combatants, the Mark 54 represents a departure from the MU-90 currently used by the RAN. The Mark 54 is currently in service, but as an air-launched weapon from the MH-60 Romeo. All of these will require combat system modifications, but Defence Industry Minister Pat Conroy has confirmed that Lockheed Martin is already undertaking the necessary integration work. It is also important to note that these changes are not purely Australian preference. Japanese officials have been explicit that domestically designed weapons will not be exported, meaning Australian and allied systems are always going to be required. The result is the ship that remains fundamentally Mogami in design, but as aligned as reasonably possible with Australian logistics, sustainment and alliance frameworks. At approximately 6,400 tonnes fully loaded and 142 metres in length, with a top speed exceeding 30 knots, the upgraded Mogami sits just below the Hobart class in size, while being significantly larger than the Anzac class it replaces. This places it firmly in the category of a true ocean-going combatant rather than a lightly armed patrol frigate. The upgraded Mogami offers a range of approximately 10,000 nautical miles, well beyond the Anzac class's 6,000 nautical mile range. This endurance is critical for Indo-Pacific operations, enabling sustained presence missions, long-range escorts, and independent deployment across vast distances. These are exactly the operational demands the Defence Strategic Review identifies for a medium navy operating far from home ports. As an aero missile defender, the Mogami class is no slouch. Each ship will be fitted with a 32-cell Mark 41 strike-length vertical launch system, 4 times the capacity of the current Anzac class. This allows the ship to employ the full range of missiles currently in the RAN inventory. The design does lack the illuminators required for the semi-active SM-2, making a likely loadout a mix of ESSM Block 2, SM-6 and Tomahawk. While some have speculated about an alternative fire control solution, the original design did not require them due to the ASAM possessing an active seeker head, and as such, integration should not be assumed. The retained OPY-2 X-band ASA radar trades raw range for precision, while atmospheric attenuation limits maximum detection distance compared to S-band systems like Hobart's spy radar. The finer beam width significantly improves detection and tracking of small, fast sea-skimming targets. There is currently no public confirmation of cooperative engagement capability comparable to Aegis, but with appropriate integration the Mogami could still meaningfully contribute to layered air and missile defense architectures beyond simple point defense. All that being said, anti-submarine warfare is where Mogami truly excels. The ship combines a hull-mounted sonar with a towed array variable depth sonar, allowing detection above, within and below the thermocline layer. It carries 2 triple torpedo launchers firing Mark 54 torpedoes and has the hangar space for one of the RAN's MH-60 Romeo Seahawks. This configuration allows the Mogami to sanitize ahead of a task group, prosecute contacts via embarked assets, and protect high-value units while remaining outside of immediate threat envelopes. With 11 hulls planned, this capability directly supports sea denial and undersea warfare in Australia's northern approaches. Modern shipborne anti-surface warfare is as much about deterrence as routine employment. It is a capability that must exist even if it is rarely exercised. The Mogami will carry the Naval Strike Missile already in Australian service, optimised for contested littoral environments where terrain, curvature of the earth and clutter complicate detection. The missiles will be fitted in 2 4-cell launchers amidships. The Mark 45 Mod 4 5-inch gun further provides naval surface fire support and strike capability in permissive environments, out to approximately 37 kilometers, a significant employment over the older Mod 2 gun fitted to the Anzac class. SM-6 has also demonstrated surface-to-surface capability, granting more options to the ship's captain and even further anti-surface warfare lethality. Despite its increased size and capability, the upgraded Mogami retains a core crew of around 90. With accommodation for surge personnel. This is not a minor detail. The DSR identified Navy workforce sustainability as its most severe structural challenge. In this context, automation is not an optimization, it is a prerequisite for fleet viability. The Mogami's Combat Information Center reflects this philosophy. Rather than multiple compartmentalized control rooms, the ship employs a highly centralized CIC integrating warfare coordination, sensor management, command decision making, and navigation and ship control interface as required. This consolidation enables fewer operators to manage more systems without sacrificing situational awareness. The most distinctive feature of the CIC is its full circumference display wall, presenting a shared, real-time tactical picture. This allows simultaneous visualizations of air, surface, subsurface and navigational data, reducing reliance on verbal relay and minimizing information stovepipes. In complex littoral environments, this collective situational awareness can be decisive. Modern naval combat increasingly hinges on who is detected first. The Mogami's stealthy hull form, enclosed equipment, and integrated masts reduce radar and infrared signatures, complicating enemy detection and targeting. Even modest reductions in detection range can translate into meaningful tactical advantage during approach, maneuver and repositioning in contested environments. The Anzac class has served Australia well, but it was designed for a very different strategic era. The upgraded Mogami-class represents a generational leap. From limited missile capacity to deep, flexible VLS, from manpower-intensive operations to automation-driven sustainment, from open superstructures to modern signature management, and from regional operations to true Indo-Pacific reach. This is not an incremental improvement, it is a drastic leap into the 21st century, and one of the most consequential aspects of the Mogami program is how it will be built. Offshore first, then Australian construction. Initial ships will be constructed in Japan, leveraging mature production lines to ensure schedule certainty. Subsequent vessels will be built at the Henderson Precinct in Western Australia, supporting continuous naval shipbuilding. This approach reflects the review's rejection of perfectionism in favour of minimum viable capability delivered at speed, without abandoning sovereign industrial ambition. Australia's engineers and technicians will gain direct exposure to advanced shipbuilding practices, including digital engineering, modular construction and integrated systems installation. Over time, this supports a more skilled maritime workforce, reduced sustainment risk across a 40-year service life, and greater resilience in supply chain and maintenance. Pursuing sea power is not just about ships. As we learn from the Constellation class, it is about the industrial ecosystems that build and sustain them. Beyond industry, the Mogami program deepens defense cooperation with Japan and the United States. Operating similar platforms improves training alignment, logistics cooperation, parts commonality, and coalition effectiveness in crisis or conflict. For a medium navy, these intangible benefits often matter as much as raw combat power. The upgraded Mogami-class frigate was selected because it addresses the central challenges of modern maritime warfare: lethality through extended missile capacity, survivability through stealth and automation, endurance matched to Australia's geography, interoperability with key allies, and industrial sustainability through domestic construction. It is not the most heavily armed ship afloat. It does not need to be. Instead, it is balanced, adaptable, and realistic about the constraints facing modern navies. In that sense, the Mogami is not merely a replacement for the Anzac class, but a deliberate instrument of Australia's strategy of denial, designed to be present, survivable, and lethal where it matters most. In an increasingly contested Indo-Pacific, choices like this matter. The upgraded Mogami-class frigate is a clear expression of how Australia intends to meet the future, at sea, with allies, and with an industrial base capable of sustaining maritime power for generations. Now, the future of Australia's surface fleet is a complicated and controversial issue, so let me know in the comments. Do you think the upgraded Mogami was the right choice, or would you have gone in a different direction? Maybe ThyssenKrupp's Mako A200? And finally, if you want more analysis like this, hit subscribe, and if the video added value, a like goes a long way in supporting the channel. Thank you.